Well, day 16 of the government shutdown with no end in sight. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from firing workers during the government shutdown, saying the human cost cannot be tolerated. For more, we're going to bring in now Republican Representative from North Carolina, Tim Moore. Congressman Moore, great to see you, sir. Before we talk about the shutdown, I first want to get your reaction to the Bolton indictment.
You know, it shows that no one is above the law, of course, and I followed that on the periphery. But, you know, making sure that one safeguards confidential and secret information is important. But what really strikes me as odd is where you see the folks, the political prosecution that occurred against President Trump. And it turns out so many folks who were, you know, doing all this hand-wringing about him were actually themselves the ones actually violating the law. So, you know, I know this process will work through and the courts will take care of it, but it's disappointing to see it. But, you know, at the end of the day, folks have to make sure they follow the law when it comes to top secret information.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to move along to the shutdown now. Today, Majority Leader Thune said he hopes to strong-arm some Democrats by bringing a full-year Pentagon funding bill to the floor. Now, if the Dems support it, they undercut their strategy. But if they oppose it, they're actively blocking military pay and national security funding. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think you have to think about how we even got here in the first place. The House passed now roughly 4 weeks ago a clean continuing resolution, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have tried to force about $1.5 trillion in new spending, including, by the way, free health care for illegal aliens, just to keep the federal government open. It's outrageous. And I think it's important that that the American people see where they are on this. They're willing to see military members go without their pay, other federal employees, the federal government stop when it comes to addressing needs. I mean, look, I represent Western North Carolina. We're still in the cleanup right now when it comes to Hurricane Helene. We don't need any more delays from this stuff. But these kinds of games that the Democrats are playing, I mean, are impacting real people, and it's just wrong. So, you know, I will, and I got to give a shout out to President Trump. He even worked to find a way to make sure that we keep paying our military servicemen and women by moving some money around. But that's just a temporary fix. What I'm going to be interested to see, Tracy, is what happens after this anti-America protest they're calling No Kings rally this weekend. If that's the thing that finally gets the Democrats, once they get the crazy leftists out of town, if that's when they'll actually do their job to reopen the federal government.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. You know, instead of working to reopen the government, the Democrats are staging antics, right? Attempting to barge into House Speaker Mike Johnson's office on Capitol Hill. I know you saw that. Of course, it's Republicans who haven't done a thing. That's what Hakeem Jeffries has to say. Listen to this.
Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have shut down the government 15 days ago. And they haven't done a damn thing since to try and reopen it.
Unbelievable. So what do you have to say about that?
You know, I've always told folks you can always have your own opinion, but you can't have your own facts. And Hakeem Jeffries is simply wrong, and he knows he's being dishonest with the American people on this. Democrats have intentionally shut the government down. They brag about it. Now, they're trying to back up because they realize most people are outraged by this. But they are the ones who have been saying no, who have not done their job. We passed a clean continuing resolution weeks ago that simply kept the government open on spending levels that even Democrats had voted for in the past. I mean, this is unprecedented in so many ways. And they are literally playing with the lives of people. I mean, whether it comes to, you know, SNAP benefits, whether it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, all of these funds that can eventually get caught up in this stuff. But then there are people who are being impacted right now. I shot a video the other day. I was in Washington and I was seeing some of the school groups and folks that had come up to tour the nation's capital, and they can't go to the Smithsonian. They can't go do these things. I mean, those are smaller things in the big picture of some of the other things, but those are big deals. And I mean, so my point is that this government shutdown that Democrats are using as some sort of negotiating tactic is hurting real people. And then I go back to the fact of our military servicemen and women. I mean, you think about young members of the military who are probably already living paycheck to paycheck, who are in jeopardy here of not getting any pay at all. It's outrageous. And of course, it's personal with me with the disaster relief. But he's simply being dishonest. I mean, look at the votes. Look at the fact that Republicans are trying to keep the government open. And it would be different. It would be different in this thing, Tracy, if we were throwing policy in or we were doing things. It just keeps the federal government open. That's it, nothing else. So I hope the American people realize who's to blame on this, because it's very clear. I mean, and bear in mind, for just to keep the government open, they want us to spend another $1.5 trillion. I can tell you, I'm not voting for something like that. And I don't know of anybody in our conference that is.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, it's affecting real people and services like WIC that women and children desperately need. I want to pivot now to this. The Middle East, President Trump saying if Hamas does not hold up their end of this peace deal, Israeli forces actually could resume fighting in Gaza as soon as I say the word. That's what the president said. Your reaction to that, do you think that's going to happen?
I certainly hope that it doesn't have to happen. I hope by now, Hamas should know that Donald Trump does not play around. That when President Trump says something, he means it. If they want to get a reference on that, maybe they should call the leaders in Iran, right? I mean, this is no joke. And I saw these brutal executions that Hamas did just a couple of days ago of folks they had suspected were collaborated with Israel. I mean, this is outrageous. They're supposed to disarm as well. And I think the president has the legal and the moral authority to absolutely deal very harshly with Hamas if they don't abide by the terms of this agreement. But what I'm interested to see, you remember all the folks from the left who are out here with all the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine stuff? I wonder what they have to say about these brutal executions that Hamas is doing. I just, you know what I think? I think a lot of these leftists out here that are cozying up with these terrorists, I think some of them just are dumb. They don't know what they're talking about. You see some of them out promoting all sorts of other leftist issues and then bunching it on to this pro-Hamas stuff. I mean, what they don't realize is that these terrorists with Hamas would soon kill them as to look at them. And I'm just so thankful that we finally have a president who believes in peace through strength, who is not afraid to assert the American authority for right, and is going to insist that this peace deal be followed. And if it's not, the Hamas should be dealt with very harshly. And I think that Donald Trump is just the man at the right time to be able to deal with these guys. So hopefully they realize they need to follow the rules. They need to agree to stick to what they've agreed. But if not, I know President Trump will do the right thing.
Very well said, sir. Representative Tim Moore, a pleasure to be with you today.
Great being with you as well.